Good morning, everyone. Hello, hello. As always, let me know if you're not hearing me or hearing an echo, as happened once before, and if you can see me properly. Otherwise, let's get into the stream. Let me pop out the chat so I can read your comments a little better. For most of you, it's evening in the US. In Europe, it's, I think, afternoon. And for us down here in Australia, it's Sunday morning in the future. Okay, as always, if you want to ask a question in the stream that I might be able to answer, please put a whole bunch of brightly colored emojis on the right-hand side of this live stream. If you're watching this after the fact or on your phone, I don't think there's a pop-up chat. I'm not sure how it works on a phone. Anyway, first things out of the way for you gearheads, I'm using the Samsung Q9U dynamic microphone plugged into my Rodecaster Pro audio interface, and with some processing, and my levels are set to 30 with a FET head, and that'll mean absolutely nothing to people who aren't gear nerds. Anyway, let's get on to the stream. As always, it'll primarily be about my more recent videos that I did this week, all basically revolving around, are we showing up? And I'm not saying we're doing it intentionally, but it's a default mode that seems safe, and we drop into it, a very kind of unconscious, relaxed way that we operate in front of other people, that if you look at it, might actually be different to the way you operate when you're with friends or family or people you really feel comfortable with, and you've actually been in the same kind of relaxed mode as you were from when you were a kid, and you felt safe and comfortable with these people. It's basically, and the reason I reference it sort of interests a lot of guys, is when they go on job interviews or when they go on dates with women, which is another job interview for most guys, they do not act this way. This natural, I feel safe, I'm comfortable, I let out the bulk of my, real personality. That doesn't happen. And that's the thing I'm trying to get guys to be, to relax, to get rid of fear, to, quote unquote, be themselves, even though that term has been sort of, oprahfied. I think that's the healthier way to go, because you can still be polite, you can still be nice, but you can be more yourself, rather than just walking and quacking like a duck, because that will allow you to be with a person, with a girlfriend, in a job. And I understand with the job, you need the money and so forth, but how much walking, talking, and quacking like a duck are you comfortable with to be in that place? I did a video a while ago, boiling everything down to one simple question. What can you live with, gentlemen? What are you able to fairly live with? I mean, if you have to go to work and the people are agreeable, and you just kind of, you have to wear pants and shoes and a shirt, say, without a tie, just kind of sort of dress wear, but not too formal, but you'd rather just be in t-shirts. Like, how much is it being stubborn, and how much are you being fair? Are they asking too much of you? Whereas if your disposition is that, no, I just want to wear a t-shirt and shorts all the time, then maybe you need to find a job outdoors or some other kind of job. You can't, a lot of people are resisting two opposing points. Like, I want to make a lot of money in the business sector, but I want to wear shorts and a t-shirt. You know, unless you work for Google or you're Steve Jobs or something like that, you really need to find out where are you most comfortable. And similarly, put that same frame of mindset into when you come across a woman that might potentially be a partner for you or a mate. It's like, does this really suit you? Or are you there for a quick cash grab? Are you there for a quick lay? And you're convincing yourself because you just want that short-term gratification. Oh, well, you never know. It could turn into something meaningful. It could become me. But really, you know, it's not you. So anyway, guys, yeah, if you don't have any questions at the moment, I'll read some of the comments from recent videos that I thought were noteworthy. Feral Male says, I have found that during a job interview, the more relaxed and real I am, the more likely I am to land the job. I have noticed this too. I think I talked about this a little while ago, that I think it was after the 2028 recession. A lot of people lost their jobs, especially in my sector, the creative sector, like design. And it was really hard to find a job. And I basically took a job that was a 10-year step backwards because I just took what I could get. They knew that they were getting a better designer for a cheaper price, and they made me do just 5 people's jobs at a high degree and trying to squeeze blood out of a stone. You know, they had me doing programming and this and organizing and marketing and just a whole bunch of stuff that wasn't me. And they were ignoring 95% of my skill set that I was like really good at, still am, and I'm passionate about, and I can give you more than the basics because I love doing it. Now, they wanted me to do another few jobs on top because they could. And after that, I remember I quit that job after a few weeks, even though I didn't have work. And then after that, I made a decision. I'm going to job interviews like I go on dates looking for a friend. I'm going to see if I can actually, if this job suits me, if this environment suits me, if these people suit me. At the job interview, I'm going to try and be friends with these people who are interviewing me. I'm not going to be nervous because I don't care. If I don't enjoy the environment, if I can't be friends, if I can't enjoy my work, then if I don't fit, it's pointless. And I started to adopt that across the board. It's amazing how a lot of this stuff that I try and talk about now recently, I'm trying to talk about stuff that will translate across the board of your life. Mindsets, ways of thinking, and kind of beliefs that can just fit into everything by just a small, not even a small adjustment. You know, like I talk about, does she seem like a friend? So if you're relating to people, do the qualities that friends exude, respectful, trustworthy qualities that can relate to your family. Friends, certainly, and then potential lovers. Those qualities are similar across the board. I love finding simple umbrella frames of reference that can help solve these related problems. And I did a similar thing, Feral Male, where I just started to go to job interviews personally. Treat everything personally. Don't go there begging to be part of their personal life. In that sense, you hollow yourself out. You make yourself right for exploitation. So it's a good way of relaxing, getting rid of fear, increasing your self-confidence. Not that you kind of want to do it as a motivational thing, but it just happens. Your anxiety level goes down, and then as a consequence, your confidence and calmness just goes up. Remember, guys, if you want to ask a question in the chat, and so if you're not asking questions at the moment, I'll read some of the comments that I thought were pretty noteworthy of the last few videos. Let me see. Previous video, Neil commented under my video, I miss my ex-girlfriend, so what is the lesson there? He said, I miss my ex. And I was the one that left and ended it. Not because I wanted to, but I felt that I wasn't left with a choice. That was 10 years ago, and I still think about her every day. However, I have also realized that I don't miss the real her, but rather the mythical her that she presented and which I fell in love with. In that first 2 or 3 weeks, I love and still love that almost perfect mythical her. It's easy to love someone that is perfect, a lot harder to love the real person, but it took me a long time to discover why I thought about her so much. That's a really great comment, and one that sort of spoke volumes. I think a lot of this can relate to this. The mask that many women might present at the start that we fall for, and then once they have us and they can see they have us, then they start feeling like it's safe to reveal all other aspects of them that make them a whole person. And then it's very easy to go, well, I didn't see this, and it actually grates against my sense of all the other parts of you. But they're annoyed. Well, you said you loved me. It's like, well, you've changed. And it's happened a couple of times with me where women have been agreeable, and because I'm an observer and a thinker, sometimes a little bit skeptical at the start, for self-protective reasons. But once they prove themselves consistently over and over again on a particular issue, that naturally, no, I can see them in that way now. I don't have to be skeptical about that. It's very unlikely that they're going to be anyone different. And then they turn out to be someone different. It's like, hang on, why were you consistently showing that at the start? I've spoken about how one of my exes, I kept noticing her reaction about around the topic of kids or when we were around children. And I said, look, if you want kids, you're with the wrong guy. I'll never want kids. I've never wanted kids, and I don't want that life of a father. I just don't. I never will. That's the one deal breaker. And she was like, well, it would be nice, but it's no big deal. I just want you. Then later on, it became a big deal, and it was a reason that caused us to break up. So, you can get angry, but all you can do is you yourself, do not ignore the signs. When a woman when you say, what's the problem? And she says nothing, but there is, and she won't tell you. You can't ignore what is there. Like, we can get frustrated at the way many women act, but at the end of it, I think most men's frustration is that they knew better. They felt there was something wrong. Oh, but she said nothing was wrong. Or she said this, so I believed her, even though I didn't trust what she said. We regret not speaking up. We regret wasting time. We regret not leaving earlier. We regret a lot of stuff. And yes, it was her fault for not speaking up and so on and so forth. But if we could go back in time, as soon as we noticed that, we would do it differently. And this is why many of us who are trying to be better, we learn from those lessons, and next time we go on a date, we notice those things that in the past we didn't speak up about, we try and, at least I hope we would, and you would, guys. And now, you meet someone and they tickle a part of your brain that reminds you of an ex that, you had an awful breakup with, or who betrayed you, or who lied or kept things from you. You would think that you would want to speak up and clarify and say, oh, when you say this, do you mean this or this? Make sure where you're giving her the benefit of doubt, it's actually true. And you're not actually avoiding a danger that's going to end up hurting you like in the past again. And it's going to doubly hurt you because you're older and you should know better. Quasimandai says, there is an interesting take from the Tantric Vedics of the Siva school asserting that relationships with a woman are impossible, but relationships with women are possible. Yeah, it's similar to when I hear people say, people can be rational. No, a person can be rational, but people are generally stupid. The collective is dumb and irrational and awful, but individuals can be reasoned with, generally, or can be sensible, or you can trust the individual, maybe. But with groups, no. Which is why it's always good to be very conscious of this stuff. Are you relating as yourself? Are you relating with the person in front of you and demanding that they show the individual? Or are you just kind of sleepwalking through it and going, here's a chick, let me talk about the weather. This is agreeable. I won't say anything that'll cause her not to go to bed with me. Blah, blah, blah. Like just kind of sleepwalking through the biological motions. And then later on, you start thinking and standing up for yourself as an individual later when it's too late. Over and over again, you keep doing it. Breakup after breakup. Well, relationships are just luck, aren't they? I just cross my fingers, roll the dice, sleepwalk through the biology again, and then later on, that's when I switch on my prefrontal cortex, and that's when I'm thinking, and that's where I start using my moral philosophy and my ethics and go, hang on, this isn't fair, and that's not fair, and this isn't right, and we should be honest, and we should speak up. It's like, no, you should have done it then. You're doing it later as damage control, but you're not taking it forward, so there's less damage to control later on. I just can't believe how much people excuse the plural of men and women and relationships and politics and everything as an excuse to say, well, there's nothing you can do as an individual. There is. I decided to switch my camera on this morning and do this live stream. I decided to make a video. And you overly academic, philosophical people will sort of say, well, did you really, human? You don't really have any free will. Well, yeah, we can go around in circles with that. But whether or not I'm supposed to do this, I make a choice to do it. And there's a lot of times I don't want to do it. I don't. I would rather sit around doing nothing. But I realize how much better my life is and the degree to which I feel like I have control, even if I don't in a larger sense in life. I enjoy my life going forward the more I'm conscious and trying to make as many sensible, beneficial decisions and not sit back and let, my strings be pulled because, I choose to believe in free will from zero to end. I wouldn't be up. I mean, it's part of the reason most guys don't trust women. Women believe in free will. I just felt this way. Sorry. Well, there's nothing I can do. I'm not responsible. Free will, my feelings. Well, I don't know what your problem is, human. It's like we expect them to have the free will to abide by their promises, don't we? So why are we lazy that way with ourselves? I think that's the sort of the friction we pull against as men. We should, but we don't. We know better, but we don't. It's a struggle, but that's the reality that annoys us. And just like some women sort of foist responsibility onto blaming men, we can do it with women. But a lot of the times, we're more frustrated at us not taking care of ourselves sooner than we should have. Sooner than we should have. No, not taking care of ourselves sooner. And that's a lot of our regret. Our regret from what happened in the past in relationships, it's got to do with the loss of time and us being like, I was dumb. Why was I so stupid? But we won't say it. We'll say, well, objectively, like she said X, but she meant Y, and so I'll blame her for lying. And she did, 100%. But if she kept proving, she keeps saying X when she means Y over and over and over again, this is the thing that F's us up as guys. We're smart enough to kind of see it if it's proven over and over again. And we don't want to do it again, but we let ourselves off the hook and saying, well, she said this, she said that. Yeah, but did she prove it over time where you could actually trust it as much as possible? I know in the future she could leave you, life takes a wrong turn, Even if she's not a villain, you go your separate ways. It's happened to me. I've had great relationships that we just couldn't stay on the same path, and we had to respectfully part ways. It wasn't always like a, fry pan throwing argument where the cops are called. I mean, everyone likes to dramatize that. We love to make videos, and they're the ones we watch the most, the extreme psycho cases. Most of our relationships aren't like that. Some of us had one or two of them. I had pretty hairy ones. But were any of them, life risking? Not really. They could have made my life very difficult if something went wrong for the rest of my life. Things like, having kids accidentally and things like that. But I think the more honest we can be with ourselves, the better chances that our lives will be much more predictable, in our control, and we will be less frustrated with ourselves by not making the decisions we kind of felt and knew we should make. Vero, on the same video, I miss my ex-girlfriend, so what's the lesson? They said, that's what I missed during my dating years. I tried to build a foundation when there was none, when there was no material to start with. The feeling of deception is tangible when you have to start over and over again. You plainly get tired of all the time you wasted. Yes, we're tired of the wasted time. And we're tired of wasting our own time by not saying what we feel, by not asking the questions to her directly, because we don't want to upset Pumpkin. We don't want to put a frown on her face. We don't want to make the sex go away. You plainly get tired of all the time you wasted, not only yours, but there's two. Money comes and goes, but time doesn't. Use it wisely. Yes. For men, and I know for women, but I think primarily for men, we really value our time. And if we lazily don't actually take care of it, we feel frustrated in ourselves and with women, and we can blame the world and women for it. But we value our time, and we hate that we wasted time because we were drunk and walked through the thing, and we should have known better. And what we do, we get lazy and we think, well, relationships are luck. Let me just roll the dice again with this pretty thing, and maybe this one will work out. That's why it seems like such a risk, because it is. You're going in there in a risky fashion. You're going in there like this, saying, well, I've got no control over this. Once I'm in there, if she wants me and I like the way she looks, that's it. She's got me. And I hope that mummy treats me well. Rather than going in like an adult and saying like that job interview thing mode we were talking about before, go in it looking if you can actually be friends at this job. Is there friends quality with this woman? That's what you want. A rocket scientist said, I miss my ex-girlfriend, so what's the lesson? He says, there are 36 guys that miss your girlfriend too. Don't worry, she's not thinking about you. TAA says, I ask her, what do you like to do for fun? The response I get is exercise and working, which is boring. Most people spend their 20s and 30s living it up, and now they work and exercise. And have become boring prudes. Hard parts these days. Yeah. Does the person have any interest? Because someone who's actually interested in things and hobbies and whatever, they have something to talk about, and they can actually express their interests and desires through those things they enjoy doing, like hobbies. But if you do stuff that a human can be dropped in like a cookie cutter that everyone enjoys, like I like going for walks, I like feeling good, I like watching movies. Yeah, what kind of movies? Any movies. There's no, like, if they can't actually express any specificity where you can actually see the individual that you're supposed to like to the exclusion of all other women, then if she's going to present herself like everyone else, then it's easy to see why most guys treat women like everyone else. She's not special because she's not special. She doesn't communicate specialness. She doesn't tell you about her specialness because she doesn't want to ruin her chances at potentially being with you. Well, that's the point. You have to be specific, risk losing the person that you should lose because they're not for you. That's the point. But our defensiveness, our need for validation, our need to not be alone is like, I want to increase my chances of getting a woman or a partner or a boyfriend or a girlfriend or whatever. But the point is, you don't want everyone. Everyone just picks anyone that'll have them, and you're miserable. There's so many people walking around who've had kids and they're married and they don't like each other. You talk about, they go, do you love your partner? Do you even like them? Most people don't. I can't imagine living in that prison. When you pretend she cares, that video I made. Tube the Noob says, always a pleasure to hear the insights, so much of it. Applicable to daily life as a divorced guy myself. Okay, that's why I put that comment in. See, whether you're divorced, whether you're going your own way, whether you're whatever part of, the internet you feel like you belong to, I think that everyone, if you speak rationally and not from your clubhouse of like the 10 rules I can only speak about if I'm an MGTOW, and you're not allowed to do this, you can't get married, you can't, fair enough, you can't go your own way if you're kind of married, the state has you, I get you. But when they kind of say, why are you speaking to a married guy, human? He's not one of us. It's like, we're not one of us. You're individuals. This is all about us individually talking so we can be better as individuals. I want to stand side by side with you, but not in a clubhouse, not in front or behind you. This isn't us. It's a man going his own way, not men collectively in a clubhouse with the 10 commandments. And since when did going your own way turn into a rational, logical, philosophical discussion that we could sort of understand and have a live and let live attitude, and different people make different kinds of content and we all kind of cross-pollinate sensible ideas and, well, they got a point of view, but it's not for me, that kind of thinking? Where did it go from that to no cohabitation, no marriage, no kids, no nothing, only short-term hookups? Really? So the PUA has come in to mean MGTOW. Is that all it is now? Is that what it's become today? Because that's all it seems to me. I put that in there because I encourage guys, whether you're married or not, if you can speak civilly about what's fair in life, relationships and things like that I talk about, I want to speak to you. I have zero interest in speaking to someone who has 5 very close-minded rules about what I can and can't do, what I'm not allowed to do. This is why I don't label myself anything anymore. I want you to talk with me like I want you to talk with yourself and express yourself to other people as an individual, so we can talk together, stand shoulder to shoulder, but we are not one collective. We are not. We are individual guys trying to find our way through life and trying to be, to have a better life, to be as best as we can. That's the point for me. At the end of the day, think about this. You think you've got a whole bunch of community of guys, and I love some of you guys. I've had conversations with you, and I always hope to have most of you guys in my life to talk to share ideas with. But let's face it, at the end of the day, if I need you to help me in my life, I need you to help me move my furniture, I need a place to sleep. How many people can I actually go to? How many of us can? We need to individually have good lives, and then all of this community is a bonus that enriches and helps our lives and sharpens our lives too. Man to Planet said, I recently read in the Gulag Archipelago a profound line, so I can't take credit for it. It says, a man is the product of his whole experience. This is how we come to be who we are, or what we are. Alexander Solzhenitsyn. I think Jordan Peterson talks about him quite a bit. He references that book all the time. A man is the product of his whole experience. Yeah, it's similar to you are the product of, the 5 people that you constantly are relating to in your life. You are what you do, especially for guys. What we habitually do, we start to become that thing. So if you're continually talking to yourself in a certain way, you're repeating certain memes, and you believe them, you want to believe them, they make you feel good, you will be affected by it. In the same way, when if you're watching, you know, people having sticky friction online all the time during the day, but you excuse yourself with all manner of things like, oh, I'm a connoisseur. I categorize, you know, the videos I watch in alphabetical order, and I really only love these directors, and I love this obscure stuff. Like you're some artisan. You can sort of call it what it is, and if you can genuinely compartmentalize, but if you're actually habitually using it every day for a long time and saying I'm in control of it, but you're frustrated with the parts of your life that's involved with, like women and relationships, then I don't know. All I'd say is be honest with yourself. Otherwise, you're just going to be continually frustrated or feel down, depressed, grey, whatever. This is the real test. You can lie. You can find any quotes that will allow you to stay in that comfort zone. But if what you really want is not allowing you to, that's what you've got to be honest about. Is your life lower in stress? Is your life more stable? Is your life more predictable? Do you have more control in your life? If you're feeling more and more frustrated, I don't care what you say. You might think that that fight and that power you feel by getting annoyed at the world gives you some sort of vitality, but I think it's a lot of wasted and expended energy shouting into the void and not being used in your own life. Now, is my stream slow, or am I not getting any more? Oh no, here it is. Time of Dying 00 says, Human, I'm pretty sure a comment I made sparked this topic from you, and I wanted to thank you for that. I don't mean to spam, but I got some things to say. Here we go. Oh, okay. He's going to say some things later on. Ted1775 says, any thoughts on the Kim and Kanye drama? No, I don't know. What's happened? I think they split. That's the only rumor I heard. I don't know about any drama. And Hollywood psychos, drama, tabloid, I don't know what to believe, just like anything I read in the media these days, but especially Hollywood stuff. A lot of them actually make up drama so they get more attention, and their brands and the worlds they live in get more eyeballs and things happening, and they get more interviews, more publicity. So I don't know what to believe, especially in Hollywood tabloid. He says, notice how they portray Kanye as a psycho. Also, how you notice that since their breakup, Kim already has a new man. Yeah, typical stuff. Kanye, I'd never really liked him that much. He just always seemed like he had a massive ego to me. But I don't really know much about him. Not a massive fan of his music either. But I can appreciate he's talented and he's pretty productive, or was. I don't know. So, yeah, don't have much to say about it. Oh, here we go. Time of Dying 00 says, I think that everyone in life has a public persona and a private persona, and we spend our entire lives trying to reconcile the two with each other. Yes, that's another good way. We are trying to live two lives is another way of looking at it too, and it's very hard. The more, and I hate to use the term because it's been Oprahified, the more authentic you're trying to be, or the more real, let's say it that way, the more real you try and be. It's almost like those two worlds are trying to own you. Like, no, you've got to be more this, more that, and they can't mix. But I think if you learn to speak and think better, you'll only learn to speak and think in a certain way, because you'll speak in a very sleepwalking kind of way when you're at work at the office, and then you'll speak in another sleepwalking kind of way in your private life. But when you're more consciously speaking and thinking in terms of what you really believe, and you pick your words, and you really engage in the conversations wherever you are, I've noticed that I'm much more the real me across the board. Not completely, of course. I need to formalize it slightly because I'm at work, because there are certain rules by which I get paid. Okay, but I will be as much as myself as I can, because I know I enjoy life that way. So if I have to be at work, I want to enjoy it as much as possible. If I have to be at home, of course, you're going to enjoy it as much as possible, and there's hardly anything stopping you. If I'm going to be With a girlfriend, I'm going to enjoy it as much as possible, which means I say and do and think and express who I am. I don't modify to keep a smile on Pumpkin's face, because the way I see it, if I'm just me, which my family and friends all seem to appreciate and like being around, and I do have close family and friends, then there's no reason that this person, if they match me, this chick sitting across from me on the date, if she frowns at something I just say because it's my preference, or I like this, or I'm saying, hey, this is me, and she doesn't like it, well, it's not my problem. I have every right to have a preference. I have every right to have my opinion. If she doesn't like it, that's basically her subconscious going, well, I'm disappointed. He's not the kind of guy I want him to be. Well, bad luck. I don't want you to be any kind of girl. You're only going to be with me if you are compatible with me. If you're not, I'm not annoyed. I don't want you to change. Go find someone else. You need to find the guy that matches you. But don't get annoyed at me because you can't be bothered putting on makeup again for the next guy and you just rather me be the guy. It's like, no. And the same way with us. Don't be lazy. Demand that your mode is as much you as you can be. Because what I like about that is that I feel less fear. I'm less anxious. I have a much more tranquil life. Not at home. I don't have to run home every time I want to kind of grab my ventilator and like, I can't breathe because I'm hyperventilating. I can actually breathe everywhere. Not just at home. The world is mine. It's not everyone else's. Where I go. You know, don't limit your world to the four walls of your house. Like, obviously, I love being at home. I'm an introvert. I love being at home more than going out. But I'm saying when I do go out, I refuse to be anxious or afraid. I want to enjoy walking out, however briefly I do. Time of dying, I can't read all of your comments because you're better off actually writing a response under one of the videos or sending me an email and I might read it out. There's just too many. Like you're writing like a whole essay. But like what you're saying, it's interesting. But write it in one comment if you can. Thanks. Pillmonger says, to be transparent, but maybe work on display first. If it's just a mess, what you've got to show through that window, all you may attract is chaos that will add to it. What do you connect with? I'm not sure if that's a question or a comment. Oscar says, hi, human, it's 1:20 here in the Netherlands and I have to get some shut-eye. But man, I love your channel and I just wanted to say that I respect you and hope you keep going. Thanks, man. I appreciate the support. I know someone in the Netherlands. Hello to them. Yeah, Time of Dying says, Mars can also hide our inner demons. Yep. Tristan Z, thank you very much for the donation, the super chat. His comment is, thanks for asking awesome questions, human. Well, thank you. Thank you for appreciating them, guys, and supporting the channel. Remember to click like and subscribe and all that. Keep the algorithm knowing that you guys are engaging and interested in my channel. The algorithm doesn't like you being passive, so they like you commenting, clicking thumbs, subscribing. If you don't interact, it thinks you might be a sock puppet account and you might find yourself unsubscribed, not by me, but because it thinks, well, you're not engaging with the channel. So make sure you're subscribed and resubscribe again if you might have been unsubscribed. It's not by me. But yeah, I know that the topics I talk about aren't popular like the popular channels, but I think they're one of the most important things that aren't talked about often, is like the personal aspect of the frustration guys feel. We're always fighting against women, plural. And not looking at the individual side, us, the woman in front of us. You know, you're not trying to get land a woman amongst all plural women. You are just trying to find your compatible person. That is what you're really looking for. That's when it's going to work, if it's going to work at all. But much of the dating advice out there, much of the clickbaity, oh, look how dumb women are, look at what relationships are like, is us blindly thinking it's a rolling the dice. Most of the people out there are not compatible to you. And yes, it is rolling the dice if you just think they're all the same, because they're mostly all the same. But if you've actually only got your magnifying glass over looking for the qualities you want, you just keep coming across people that are the same, and you can make sure that you pick a person that comes close to the qualities that you know can work for you. And this is the person I might want to spend some time and get to know. But we waste so much time dating, going out with, marrying, having kids, with people we don't actually even look if they're good enough. It's like, oh, well, we're not alone anymore. I like the way she looks. Let's have kids. For someone who likes conversation and meaning in their lives and talking and sharing and creating, how are you supposed to create something in life? I mean, you can get together with someone and create kids. That's a biological way of creating. But anything else of substance, like conversation and what you want to do, how's any of it going to be constructively meaningful for the both of you if you're both incompatible? The only constructive thing you can both do is to pop out a kid for biology, but never for yourselves, because you're not compatible and you don't care to actually look if you are. That's why I keep pushing individuality, not to kind of not cooperate with people. I want people to engage with life. This world is yours. It's not just like be an individual and lock yourself in a bubble. Be a fair individual that demands reciprocity from other people. Demand fairness, demand respect. Even if you're different, you agree to disagree. Yeah, and Tristan also continues, it says, it's easy for me to talk about things, but it's even easier to fail to integrate who I am with people, hobbies, craft, etc. Yeah. Most of our dismay as guys is just not caring enough about ourselves and what we think is important. We do it when we're alone. And then it's almost like we play this masochistic game where women, we allow blindly a woman, like the chances of a woman, you know, blindly knocking us down to zero again is almost guaranteed when we go into things blindly. So then we enjoy the fight of like picking ourselves up or trying to later. It's kind of like going to the gym again, like trying to build something again. But the way we wastefully do it, where we just close our eyes and we do it with anyone, it's just being so myopic. It's like saying, well, I'm going to go to the gym, but I'm not going to look at my diet at all. It's like you're willfully being obtuse. Ted1775 says, I love the Discord channel. Yeah, some of you guys who have microphones, make sure you learn how to use push to talk, and then feel free to jump into Discord after this stream, where me and a bunch of other guys, we talk in real time. You can ask me a question. We can discuss something that's on your mind. Let's make it intelligent or civil or serious or, you know, something interesting. Not just the usual like, oh, can you believe how bad women can act? Yes, I can. So can every other guy. If I hold up a car wreck and I say like, look, isn't that awful? Isn't that horrific? Yes, it is. Do we want to talk about it in any kind of constructive way, or we just want to keep pointing at car crashes? Quasimandai says, the fact is in the modern world, you can just enjoy a chick and go on. There's a lot less drama with that level of expectation. You can, if you truly are content that way. I've said, like, I don't like spending so much time rotating women and focusing on frequency. I would rather have one thing that stays in my life. I don't like turning over things. I'd rather turn over things like my creativity, things I create and make and try, and my routines. I like just chasing female strangers takes up so much time, and I don't care about female strangers that much. Yeah, intimacy is nice. That kind of physical intimacy can be good. Again, you don't know if it is, but I know if there's a woman I'm compatible with that I enjoy going to bed with, I know I'm going to enjoy that. I'm starting to believe that what Basfiz said is correct. Most guys that really champion the hookup culture and like the only thing that they say is good is just rotating short-term relationships. It's just a bunch of guys today that are gambling addicts. I really kind of, and it's not me. And again, if you're fine with it, if you're happy gambling that way in your life, because it's a big risk every time, like you're rotating a different woman and you're not quite sure. At least someone you've been with for a longer period of time, logically speaking, because you've known them more, you know them more in a well-rounded setting, you've seen them prove themselves in certain areas over and over and over again, so it's highly unlikely they're going to act a different way. Whereas you meet a new person every week, or every few months you're dating someone new, or you're going to bed with different people all the time. You don't know what's going to happen tomorrow. If someone's going to be knocking on your door and putting handcuffs on you because you're being accused of blah, blah, blah. You don't know. So the risk is higher. So for me, I'm not a gambler, and I don't like spending so much time gambling. It makes my life more unstable, and I don't like that. I wouldn't be able to produce anything if I lived short term like that. I don't like that level of anxiety. Yes, there's parts of myself I reserve to take risk, but my base level, my Maslow base level of food, shelter, and everything, I'm not going to risk that on continually rolling the dice on female strangers every week or month because I like that kind of variety. That's nice. You know, it's kind of like when you go online and you watch different women engaging in sex. It's fun. It's like, that'd be nice as a variety. It's like watching different movies. It's fun, but what does it take away from your life? Can you live with the lifestyle? Sometimes the idea of something is much more attractive than the practicality of it. I've said this before. I love motorcycles. I love the idea of them. I love the lifestyle. I love the design, the aesthetics, the freedom. I love all that. But when I actually look at the practicality in my life, where I live, the efficacy of it through my life, it's like it's totally unattractive to me. I wouldn't want to do it now. Maybe later, maybe never. But the idea of it is much better than the practical reality of it in my life, because I know who I am and what I like in my life. I know the boundaries of my life. I know what I've got set, and I'm grateful for the foundations of what I have set. This is part of know who you are. Don't just kind of go, oh, that looks great, that looks attractive, let me give that a shot. And you're not looking at what it could take away very easily. The chances of it taking something away from your foundations of survival, what, you know, your food, shelter, like your life, your stability. If it's got really much, if it's got no chance, or very, very little chance, except if you're extremely unlucky, like tabloid media kind of Hollywood unlucky, like, oh, look at this train wreck that rarely happens. Unless you're that unlucky, they're the kind of risks I don't mind taking, where the chances of anything going wrong are very small, especially if I keep my eyes open. But guys that continually just kind of think life is luck and they've got no control, I'm not like that, guys. I'm just different to you, and you need to just accept I'm different. I can appreciate you guys want to do that, do it. I'm speaking to a kind of guy that wants more control in their lives, and he's tired of being frustrated of doing the same thing, going out with the same woman, rolling the dice and thinking that everything you do in life is just luck. And so it's convenient just to be lazy with choices and be irresponsible. Exactly the sort of thing we don't respect with women. We're doing it with ourselves, with our ethics and our moral philosophy. So just have a think about that. Remember, hit the like and subscribe button, guys. And if you've got a microphone, join a bunch of us on Discord after this live stream. How long have we been going so far? Nearly 50 minutes. Human, have you read The Manipulated Man by Esther Villar? Yes, I have, many times. Great book. I highly encourage it to all guys, especially if they've just come into knowledge about sort of the reality of men and women and how we're different, and you know, the crimson or red side of the male self-help arena. Just the guy says wearing a mask is just the way to put it, but it's actually a matter of privacy and decorum. No, I'm not talking about boundaries and just saying a no when you don't want to. I'll finish your sentence though. Being honest about everything without any filter is not civilized, even if you know someone well. Yeah, I'm saying to have tact and to have common sense. Of course, you're not going to give your PIN number, even to your friends. Again, why would they want them or need them? But if, like for instance, again, back to relationships, right? If you know what you want is long-term and you want to be able to trust this person, you want to know if you can actually bring them into your home, you have to have a level of trust. How do you do that? There's a logical way to do it. So the best way is, as far as I know, is just to kind of have boundaries of how much privacy you give away. But apart from those, anything before that is like just say what's on your mind, especially if they're preferences, ethics, and values. Why wouldn't I just let everyone know my values? That's not privacy. That is something you should be proud of. I'm not talking about that. T-Dog says, Human, in the spirit of this discussion, what are you looking forward to in the future? Making my life better. As I have been in the last few years, living life on my own terms more and more, and just increasing and expanding that, not staying in my bubble. Because what happens is if you stay in that safe, comfortable bubble, your world shrinks. It's comfortable, but you don't realize the walls close in over time. And an indication of that is your frustration, your inability to sleep, your annoyance at the smallest things. No matter how much on paper your life might be great, you're annoyed. You don't feel like your world is in color. It feels like it's in black and white. Safe black and white. That's an indication. Does your world feel like it's in safe black and white? Or is it in color and it's not 100% safe, but it feels so much better? And you're being much more loose and flexible and honest and a better caretaker of it. All questions we shouldn't be afraid to ask ourselves, because if you're so sure about who you are and how you want to live your life, why do these questions irritate you? It's the same as if someone said, well, you don't love your family, Human. I wouldn't get defensive. I'd laugh. It's like, of course I do. Like, and let me tell you why. It's laughable. So it should not be a defensive posture to ask yourself questions. If in fact you believe them, a questioning of them, they give you an opportunity to clarify what you think you know, that you already know it. And what it does is fortify what you already believe. So if someone questions what you believe, you should welcome it as a discussion point, as an intelligent question, a constructive criticism. Then you can have an interesting conversation. One of two things will happen. You will sharpen a point of view in a better way. It'll only confirm what you already know. And it'll be like, well, thank you for asking such a ridiculous question, because now it only confirms that I was even more right than I thought I was, and I believe in this value even more. Or what'll happen is they'll make you adjust what you think. Or in a rare scenario, it'll hit you like religion that I've been a fool. Here's the key to why I was resisting this part of my life. I kept holding this point of this axiom in my life that this was true and I can't move beyond it. But if I actually just, as a thought experiment, say, okay, let's pretend this isn't true, what I think about life, relationships, women. Let me just put it to the side. What would happen then? And then you go, ah, Christ, now this and this is easier. And actually, that thing that I thought was true, it really doesn't matter. I don't need it. And I'm not saying again, I'm thinking of people with their reactions. It's like, I'm not saying, oh, you need to get married or doing, like, no. I'm just saying, question what you think you believe so you know you believe it now still, and that'll make you feel even better. So you can keep believing what you've already believed. But don't defensively keep taking your sword out in conversation. Put the sword away, because what you believe should never be threatened unless naturally it's not what you believe anymore and you need to adjust it. Is something Gould says, don't we wear the mask to insulate the people around us from the tormented souls that we are? Isn't it just better that way sometimes? Again, you guys are confusing. I don't mean boundaries. Self-respecting boundaries where you don't let people walk all over you, that's fine. If you have to be quiet in a conversation, that's fine. I'm saying when you're able to express yourself but you don't, because you're so used to hiding who you are and not allowing yourself to speak, or thinking that, like, I'm not important, you're on a date, I'm not important, she is, I want her to accept me in the relationship, it's not really my relationship, it's hers, and I'm just happy to be in one. That's what I mean. I don't mean about having boundaries where if you're in a group of girl power chicks and you could see they're all really vicious and you don't want to be in an argument, fine, wear the mask of not saying anything because you're wasting your energy and you don't want to give them your time. You're not going to actually enjoy it. There's nothing in it for you. That's sensible. But I'm saying where you know you should, but you don't, that's where I want guys to be better and give themselves the permission, because there's no reason why you shouldn't. Just the guy says, having a public persona only means you are showing decorum, not the same way you'll behave amongst friends. Yeah, there's a nuance. I'm saying to have the, let's put it, the informal way of operating, where you just go into an unconscious cookie cutter robotic mode when you're in front of your girlfriend or you're in front of the boss. If you have the kind of the present mode where you can sort of see, what am I afraid of? I can just talk. I can just say what I think. I can give my yeses and nos. I might need to adjust them in language to suit work, or maybe to suit an oversensitive girlfriend, but I should never change my yeses into nos. I should never be quiet when everyone else is speaking, but I'm afraid that, like, a different point of view is gonna get all eyeballs on me. I'm wanting guys to think about that kind of thing. Thanks for all the good comments, guys. I appreciate it. Quasi-Mandai seems to have gotten fairly blunt recently. He says, trying again. Here is the hard truth in the modern era. Only unattractive people want relationships. I want a relationship. Fair enough, I'm ugly. They do so because they want stability. Yep, I freely admit I want stability. I do. That's gone. Only being the best option works. Look, that's a philosophical perspective. Like, I don't disagree with, like, being the best option, luck, what person you come across. there's always a more perfect person for you, right? But it's like, if you never come across them, what does it matter? We can get lost in the philosophical weeds, but for me, what's practically applicable in life and what is going to make your life have the best quality? Being lost in rhetoric and philosophical thought can actually be more right than you're experiencing in life. But if our intelligence and thinking keeps us here, and it's actually more interesting than what we could ever experience in life because of the way we think, I don't think it really serves us. I would rather dumb down my language to have a better conversation with a normie on the street than only sit in my room having a highly intelligent conversation with only my words on paper with myself, or in an echo chamber with a bunch of guys that say exactly what I want to hear. I would rather slightly adjust it so I can have a real interaction. Again, some of this stuff is just semantics as well. Quasimendai says, I mean relationships in the committed sense, which of course no longer exist. Which of course, again, all relationships end. I know. One of you is going to die. At the very worst, everything ends. One of you is going to leave each other. You know, even if one of you dies first, someone's going to always leave first. So if you look at it very plainly and coldly, you take all the romance out of it, it's all very cold, it's all very practical, and it leads to many guys saying, so what's the point? It's always going to end. One of you is going to leave, at the very least. One of you is going to get sick and pass away before the other person. So nothing's forever. We're all heading for the grave, right? But if we're all going to end up the same way, if everything will end, including us, what honest dance can you have with someone in your own life where you constantly communicate and keep agreeing to the same contract all the time, and not just kind of blindly letting life drift you both in different directions, where you don't communicate, where you're not honest with yourself, where you're not being present in your life? I don't actually agree with, which of course no longer exists, committed relationships. Again, there is committed as you want to conscious. I'm very committed to my life. I've noticed that people have gotten lazier. I'll agree with that, which is why we need to be more discerning with who we actually call friends, who we actually call lovers, who we actually think we can rely on. I've even noticed in comments and stuff, like, I've noticed that I've stopped making an effort with a lot of guys that I used to make a lot of effort with in communicating and stuff, because if it's a one-way street, you have to also look like, am I putting in as much of effort? You need to be sort of lucid, whether it's friends or more than that, if it's platonic or romantic. Can you live with this situation? Are you both reciprocating similar ethics? Are you both traveling along the same path? And you have to always have that conversation going openly, talking about it, living it, both being in the same routine. And if you start diverging, you need to communicate and see if you can both stay there. And if you can't, yeah, you do part. Most relationships don't end. But I know I like a lot of permanency in terms of people in my life. I don't like transient people. Where I like my transience is where I create things. I like the transience of, like, music, video, film, art, if I decide to travel, things like that. Those experiences are always changing, but the foundation of my life, where I call home, I want that stable. I'm very responsible for making that a place that I can rely on. And if a person is there, whether it's a friend or more, I insist on that being part of that stable place. If they're not, yeah, they're not in my life. But I think you have just a better relationship with you have a better relationship with impermanence with your lifestyle, Quaz, I think, than I do. I want more permanency, and I understand that nothing long-term is, but as much as I can make it, and with the people I'm with, agree to the contract of trust and constantly renewing it, that makes me feel better about the relationships I have with my life. But I cannot pretend to have a friend that I can't trust beyond next week. I can't, I'm sorry, because then the words are meaningless. Words like love and trust are meaningless. If I have to dumb down the word trust to mean like, well, they're cool for now, and call that love, then I can't. A lot of guys are calling love, which is just, they're calling love a fling because that's all that's available at the moment. Well, call it what it is. Stop dignifying dumpster fires. Stop dignifying junk food with the label of a great, healthy, nutritious meal. I don't like the reclassification of meaning ascribed to words and things and people and things that seem antiquated, but they do have value. But now we say, well, times have changed, so let's just label trash as health. Well, it's not. You've got a choice. Men of People says romance is a Western concept. It's a fantasy. No, look, modern romance is. I'm not a modern romantic at all. I'm a classical romantic, as in the old values of trust. You know, when you watch movies that a lot of guys stoically love, like Gladiator, like men keeping their word, words actually have meaning. Men used to actually even love their friends. You know, there was no shame in that. Like, there's a lot of trust and stability associated with words that imbue all the positive attributes that us guys really wish we had more of in our lives and that we would experience more of, like trust and long-term and stability and honor and building and blah, 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 like that long chess game. We've gotten rid of chess, and every guy's saying, well, checkers is the only game in town. Let's just call checkers chess. It's like, no, sorry. Chess is chess with certain moves, with certain pieces. You want to play checkers, admit it's checkers. I don't like checkers. Sorry. It's fun. I can play it every now and then. But what I love is chess. I cannot call something not what it is not. It may be semantics, but I'm not that flexible when that kind of flexibility is going to kind of make my life wholly unstable, where it's going to just introduce a lot of chaos and instability in my life, especially if I don't need it. I'm working on a video coming out, hopefully next, talking about this concept in terms of the comfort zone and why we should get out of it, but only in our way. Don't get out of your comfort zone by rolling the dice. Get out of the comfort zone, and I'm going to talk about it, why it's beneficial. But actually doing it when you know who you are, to sort of expand your comfort zone in that way. But more in the video coming up. Chaz says, what's your opinion on men's groups to create community? I love it. Self-reliance is important, but can create some isolation. Yeah, again, I'm saying that I respect individual, free-thinking, self-reflective men that I can actually sit around a campfire with, and we can all learn from each other. I'm not big on one mentor around the campfire and 100 men just listening and not uttering a word. I like men talking with each other, learning from each other. You know, sometimes I'll talk less. I'll be around the campfire and I'll really listen to a point of view of one person who's had more experience, who's mentoring me on that subject, because they're vastly more knowledgeable, have had more experience. This is that back and forth. Individual men sitting around the campfire of a collective is fine, but we're individual men that then we go away and we come back. The campfire is a place that we congregate and we trust each other as individuals, not a place where empty men go to be filled up by the campfire as an identity. The group of men is not your identity. The group of men should be a group of friends, individual friends you can trust on. If you're all a bunch of empty men, then all you trust is the group. You trust the campfire. But each one of you is not really anyone you can count on. You're all kind of empty. You're all baby chicks with your mouths open waiting for mummy to throw in a worm, to feed you. I want guys to become their own mentor. I want guys to kind of walk their own path and be strong enough and come together where we've all got our strengths and our points of view, where we can respectfully talk with each other, where we don't dominate each other, where we don't manipulate each other, but we can actually help. That helping, mentoring, kind of individuals that would, as a consequence, become a good male community, that's gone. Now it's just, let's just label this campfire something, and a whole bunch of guys that don't know what to do just go there, and we can find similar guys who have the same questions, but no one's got answers. And then what happens is you get a huckster, a scammer coming in who wants to make money off people. And we've got a few of them who really treat the online men's help thing as a business, and they won't even talk to you until you pay them hundreds of dollars. You got those guys that will come in and saying, oh, look, a whole bunch of empty guys waiting to be fed who are hungry. I'll feed you for a price. Because they're full. They know, they're confident in their world. And part of their confidence is being able to use people for their own nutrition. So again, while I have nothing against communities of men, I want guys to be strong in themselves so they have a better life, less fear, more stability, and also then they're able to offer something to other men, to the world. They can offer something in their own lives, which is good. They can make their lives better, and then they can offer something with that strength to the world. I think it's a win-win. Rather than always sort of looking for nutrition and taking, we've got to give as well. And if you're always looking at getting and getting, it's never fair. But I never want to take a step for my own benefit. You want it handed to you. Sometimes I think a lot of us, we're just kind of a bit lazy. But anyway, and I'm not crapping on guys. I'm annoyed at, I did a lot of this in the past. That's where and it was basically about like, oh, it's unfair. I'm not getting this. But unless you can actually fairly say objectively that I gave this much and this person didn't, and I can point to that as being unfair. But you also have to kind of look at, if someone's got a criticism of you, you don't do enough of this, and you can go, you know what, they're right, I don't. They do more of this than I do. So they've got a legitimate case if they're annoyed at me or I'm not giving as much. The Missouri kid says, Human, wouldn't your analogy of being safe riding a motorcycle make more sense if it was riding a horse? A motorcycle doesn't have a mind of its own, therefore it's 100% under your control. Okay, yeah, you're right. Better analogy. Actually, that's probably a good differentiator. I'd much rather, if I wanted to do something, ride a motorcycle in the safest way possible rather than riding a horse bareback, a wild horse bareback. So, unfortunately, a lot of guys think that dating women is riding a wild horse bareback and crossing your fingers that this horse doesn't kick you off and destroy you. Whereas I'd rather ride something more structured, like a motorcycle. That's a good analogy. I'm going to pin it to the top. Can I pin it? Yes, I can. Just pinned. I want to remember that analogy too. You're right. Great engagement, yeah. Keep talking, guys. I like how you guys are talking amongst each other about these ideas. Matt, William, guys are just humans too. We're expected to be money production machines. It's not real and it's not right. I agree. Do not be. If it's not fair, if she expects you to be a money machine, I was having a conversation yesterday with my mother. We were talking about sort of the difference between her time and my time. And she was actually even saying, yeah, some women today. And I said, a lot of women today ask for a great guy. Where have all the good men gone? I can't find a great guy. I can't find a great guy. And I said, do women actually ask themselves, why do they deserve a great guy? What makes you, with all this high quality stuff you demand from a guy, and you're proud that you got these standards, like I want a guy who's got this, and this, all standards that are between 8 and 10. They want the best of the best. Do any of these women get asked by their grandmothers or other women, like, why do you deserve that? Tell me, what can you compensate? What can you give? And then all of a sudden women's faces go blank. Or some of them will kind of give you a shrewd look like, yeah, well, I'm great in bed. Like, no, that's cheap, low-level stuff. That's very base animal. What values, because what you want is modern. You want this intelligent person who makes money, provides shelter, all this kind of very modernized stuff, all the window dressing, all the materialistic stuff. What can you you want a lot of practicality, survival-based stuff that makes sense. You want a lot, and not just to a normal degree, you want it to a high Hollywood degree. What are you going to give that a man would want? And take sex off the table. What will make you? And my mother agreed with me, like most women don't offer anything. They want a lot, but they don't offer jack. Learn how to ask good questions. Don't be afraid when a woman confronts you or shames you. This is the beauty of being able to more intelligently express your point of view, or more intelligently rebut what they're saying and not spurg out emotionally like women tend to do, is intelligently embarrass someone's point of view if they're being rude. Let them know. And in front of others, if they're being arrogantly like putting men down or saying women are great and they don't need to do anything, they're being idiots. And they're not helping anyone. They're not helping relationships. They're not teaching their daughters anything great. They're encouraging worse and worse behavior between men and women and making it harder and harder for all of us. So if they're all being smart and crapping all over guys in relationships, be the smarter person, be the elder, be the parent, and say, let them know they're being silly, let them know intelligently. Question them. Embarrass them intelligently if they're being completely wrong. Force them to back up what they're saying non-emotionally. Because there's just too many people, too many children out there in adult bodies steering everything and putting other people down. Human, have you read Book of Numbers by Aaron Clarey? No. It's pretty telling given the statistical analysis of the dating marriage market. Yes, there are statistics there. If you go in blindly, again, I keep saying, guys, you guys can date women in plural and you can be a man plural, fine. But you are not going to get the personal thing you want out of that. You're going to get the generalized thing. And generally, yes, there's no point. It's too risky. As Han Solo said, never tell me the odds, especially if I'm trying to be responsible, because I don't pick those women. I don't. You guys are gambling addicts. You guys are addicted to that stuff, and I get it. The only way you can stay sober is like an alcoholic, is stay like, I'm not touching the bottle anymore for my own good. I get it. I'm not an alcoholic. I've got a lot of control in my life, and I'm just talking about my point of view. Maybe you can learn something, maybe you can't. Maybe you're not that kind of person, so my content kind of annoys you because you're not that kind of person. And I agree. My suggestions are not for you if you're not anywhere near me. I don't drink. I don't smoke. I don't gamble. I'm very boring. I don't take risks with the foundations of my life. I want as much control as I can with the foundations of my life. Those boundaries at the bottom of my survival, I do not gamble at all. anything that's going to destabilize that. I gamble with everything beyond that. I gamble with my hobbies, my adjusting my life, my exercise, my fitness, my diet, my everything. I adjust. I like, you know, traveling, whatever it is. Like, I'll try a lot of things, but I will not destabilize my base. I'm a control freak when it comes to that. You guys are not like that. Good for you. I wish I had parts of you, but I don't. And there are limits. I do try sometimes, but not where it's going to destabilize my sense of who I am, what I find valuable. Chaz says, Human, what's your opinion on the category of Sigma male? All this kind of alpha, sigma, beta, like I don't really, in passing, I can understand how it's okay to kind of describe a certain type of male. I agree with it, but I think we get too hung up on the definitions, and we look for binary answers. It's the same way when people go, oh, this person's a narcissist, this person's a borderline, and it hasn't actually been rationally verified. But even if it is, it's too convenient a way to categorize people where you don't have responsibility. So some people will say, well, I've been diagnosed as a narcissist, so therefore I can't help it. Or such and such, my girlfriend acts this way, but she's been diagnosed as blah, blah, blah. So therefore I have to be understanding because she can't help it. As far as I can tell, 99% of that is BS. And the test is, if you can go to work and keep your mouth shut, if you can actually have some, if you can pay your taxes and you can drive a car, you can modify your behavior. You're just a person that's lazy and you choose not to, and you take it out on the people that allow you the most flexibility. But when you go to work, you know there's very little flexibility, and to keep your job, you need to keep your mouth shut. Then all of a sudden you kiss your boss's ass. So categories and labels, instructionally, I'm on the same page with you as long as we can discuss them sanely. But once we kind of go, well, that's the label, a Sigma male, or that's an MGTOW, and we can't talk beyond the bounds of that. If I can't actually talk to you as a real-time human being now, if it's kind of like, well, no, end of discussion, can't talk like that because a Sigma male is blah, 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 and like, you're wrong because blah, blah, blah. This is what the definition says. It's like, well, okay, let's not talk as individuals. Let's just talk as mouthpieces reciting laws. Are we just going to be parrots reciting laws made up by other people's opinions? And so you're going to trust them without exploring them. Hit the like and subscribe button, please, guys. It helps the algorithm. Spread my videos around. That'd be very helpful. Hit the bell icon. And if you've got a microphone, join some of us after this stream on my Discord. Just learn how to use push to talk, and try and let other people speak, and yeah, let's have a good chat. All right, guys, so let's head for the finish line. I don't want to go more than an hour and a half, if I can help it. Eric K says, you have gone deeper and more courageously into stoicism. It is easy to complain about women. We cannot control their behavior or others. Blame is cheap. We as men are reluctant to admit our own shortcomings. As you note, a bad attitude can lead to a self-fulfilling prophecy and hypocrisy. When a man gives up hope on finding love, he becomes bitter enough to be unable to find love. And I would add also love in his own life. The most overt way is like to see it in a woman. Love is being with a woman, right? But if you can cauterize that, it's very, very easy as a reflex to cauterize love and appreciation for other things in your life, and actually finding color anywhere. But I'll continue. People are so... Hang on, where is he? No. I need to find the comment again. Yeah, when a man gives up hope in finding love, he becomes bitter enough to be unable to love. Yes, what I was suggesting. A true Stoic is indifferent to what he cannot change, yes, but his judgments can change. To blame an entire gender for their bad behavior of some is about as unvirtuous as one can be. Yes, there is value in generalizing and being cautious. Yes, I agree in generalizations to be sensibly cautious before you gauge discernment through your own eyes and your own ears and your own value judgment and the repetition of a person proving over time. They continue, yes, there is a value in generalizing and being cautious, but to consciously and unconsciously mistreat a person in response to mistreatment from another is the height of immoral behavior. Our mission in life is to be virtuous and to play the game of life courageously and earnestly. To respect a woman who has not harmed you by treating her casually is to be guilty of the same bad game that hurt you. Look within, fight the tendency to bitterness. Many of us have never found love. Many of us may never find love, but it is within our power to lead a life worthy of it and to know that we have done our best not to harm others. Be discerning, honest, and patient. Do your best. Doing your best is its own reward. Yes. I would add, men need to really have a hard standard for trust and what love is. And then it's easy not to misascribe it to things that aren't love, that are masquerading as love, that are, in a short miniskirt saying, "Oh, you can trust me." No, I can't. You're a worm on a hook wanting me to bite. You only look, you're the advertisement of love and trust. Be aware of that. August Lyon says, I don't think the saying, "she was never yours, it was your turn," means that all women are looking to monkey branch. After all long-term relationships ended, after all my long-term relationships ended, it would usually be years before I seriously started dating again. Me too. All of my exes, every single one of them, had a new boyfriend within a week to a month. It just shows that women can sever the emotional connection she has with a man in the blink of an eye and adapt to the next guy. Yeah, our adaptation after a breakup is longer than women's. I'm not saying it's a noble thing for women, but survivally they can do it. The saying is more illustrative of the different ways men and women bond with each other than to say female love is never genuine. And Axel actually added a comment after August Lyon's comment. He said, the problem is it is genuine, but things will change sadly. A woman believes it's genuine in the moment, but a woman is always moving, much more than a guy is. A man wants to set foundations to make things stable, similar to how I was saying about my feeling of my life. I love the stability of life, and men want to lock that stability in. Unfortunately, women don't care about it. They want a man to be responsible for locking that stability in and her to be free to feel the way she wants and to lead her life by feelings. It's like, well, sorry, now this part of your life you can't feel anymore because you've locked yourself in and you've promised. And the only way you're getting out of it is by talk, by being open, Look, they've made it very easy today with no-fault divorces. I get it. But the best you can do today, guys, if you want anything long-term, is to be very, very hard on your values and not let people in quickly and be very skeptical and let things and people prove themselves over time. You need to have a high standard of trust over a long period of time before you will allow yourself to. And that's the most rational way it ever could be love, But the chances today are almost impossible. Any more questions? Rocket Scientist says, my problem is the opposite of humans. I'm just too damn interesting. Yeah. My problem, as far as I can see, is that women found me interesting at the start because I was this breath of fresh air. I was different to other guys because I was so open. And then once they got, it was a relationship and they got to see that, well, okay, he doesn't change. There's no more variety. I was variety on the first date in the honeymoon period, but then they saw that the kind of, well, this is the same now. He's he doesn't change. He's just this way all the time. He does the same things. Yeah, he's interested in this stuff, and I've discovered all these interesting new things that he is. But again, I think women see me as a holiday, and they don't realize it. They don't actually see me as a place that they call home. Whereas I mistake their agreeableness as thinking, well, this woman's like me. It's not. She's on holiday, but I don't know it. In a way, I'm probably on holiday too. I'm not going to disagree with that. So we need to sort of be more aware of it. Schlitz Malt Liquor, thank you for the donation. I appreciate the super chat. He says in his donation, human, here is some scratch towards the new grill. Continue the good work, my man. Thank you. He's talking about my upcoming oral surgery. Any more questions, guys? Diffusion Base says, hey human, have you ever met a past girl that comes back after engaging with the whole town? Would you take her back? I haven't taken exes back. I have once or twice, for curiosity's sake, gone and had a coffee with them. I think, no, only happened once, I think. But it was like it slingshotted me right back to why I left. And everything she said and did was like a reminder. And that was one time I just remembered I'm never doing it again. Because I try my best. I stay a really long time, even while the relationship's dying, because I want to make sure I did everything I could before it was too much. And so I don't really have any regrets with the relationships that I've left, because I tried and it was unworkable. So in that respect, that time I went back and caught up for a coffee with an ex. This was like about 18 to 20 years ago, this would have been. It was the only time I did it. It slingshotted me back, and it's like, no, same person. Same issues, same everything. Like you want to hope that we're all changed, but we actually don't change who we are. And I'm pretty sure she would have seen the same thing with me. I'm the same guy. I don't think our core nature changes much beyond who we were at 7 years old. We can get calmer, we can get more intelligent, we can maybe get a bit more humble. But the core personality, which was at its essence the reason for the friction and always butting heads, that's always going to still be there. Different values. That's the hard thing, finding a person who has the same values as you. Nico says, did you stop drinking coffee? No, I drank one today. I'm drinking less coffee. See, this is the thing. I'm always adjusting my diet, my routines, but I kind of know what's healthy, what I like, what I enjoy. So the point is adjustability and taking risks and trying new things out within the bounds of what you know yourself to be and what your life is. But don't keep like going to foreign countries and thinking you can live there where you can't. Stop going to foreign women. And I'm talking figuratively. Stop going to women who don't suit you. And then wondering, it's like, oh, all women are like that. It's like, no, you keep picking the foreign, which you can't fit with. Because it's exciting. Yeah, a holiday's exciting. A water slide's exciting. Can you live there? No, you can't. All right, guys, let me read a couple more questions and then we'll wrap this up. The Thought Criminal says, you can never be whole as a person without knowing and understanding your own flaws. I agree. When you're really real with yourself, when you stop pointing the finger outwardly, because you keep pointing the finger outwardly with no one cares. Your exes don't care. They're not coming back. the world's not going to change. You're yelling into the void. When you point it this way, this can change. You, this guy. You can never be a whole person without knowing and understanding your own flaws. So the terms, she's not yours, it's just your turn, is nothing more than the blame game. It's setting yourself up to fail, that you were so busy being in love that you more than likely ignored the warning signs in that the both of you were not compatible. Yes, exactly. People are so scared of being alone that the will to settle for someone who makes them miserable, that they're willing to settle for someone who makes them miserable. I've seen it so often in my life, and I understood this at a young age, and because of that, I've never pretended to be someone else just to get into a woman's panties. Truth above all else is what truly matters. If someone doesn't like who you are, then it truly was never meant to be. Throughout my life, I've suffered very little heartache because I've avoided women who were totally wrong for me. The problem with MGTOW is many of these them see women as evil. She's not yours, it's just your turn, as the saying goes. It's a very dehumanizing statement and not rooted in fact. It removes individualism from the equation. I hate it when girl power says absolutely evil crap about men, but I also hate it when men say absolutely evil crap about women. There are aspects to female nature that we all understand. They are warning signs. Yes, you don't pick them. You don't just say, well, all women are like that, so I'll just put up with it because I can't find any woman that doesn't have this. Yes, you can. Or you can find a woman with such minimal amounts of that female nature that it never pops up. How much does she express that part of her female nature that you really can't stand? Does it even ever come up? Or does it only come up if you really pushed her in the most egregious ways which you know you never would? Again, I know some of you guys say, well, if she feels like you're pushing her, it doesn't matter. Yeah, okay. There are warning signs. Yeah. I don't think most men. What is it? There are aspects to female nature that we all understand. They are warning signs, but they are not what define women. It's just your turn. That statement. I couldn't live in a relationship like that. I don't think most men can. And more than anything, it's yet another excuse for men to behave badly. It's PUA thinking. Men deserve better than that. They deserve honesty in their relationships, but they also means being honest with themselves. Men deserve more than the PUA three rules for life. You know, gym rotating women money. It is such, there's just such little meaning there. The front part of the brain is rarely switched on. Boffin actually left a comment. He said, about halfway through the video, you said the magic phrase, mechanical process. Too many guys, especially intelligent, analytical, technically minded guys, are thinking about relationships formulaically. There is no universal set of secret equations, and men fall into this trap because they come to believe that all women are the same. Women are not a fungible commodity. Each one is different. Like men, women have broad common behavioral characteristics. Yes, both men and women do. But translating broad common behaviors into they are all the same is as silly as saying all birds are the same because they all have wings. I said it in the last stream, I think, like when you ask guys, you say, are we all the same? Are all us guys the same? No, we're not. Like my friend Joe's the same, different to me, and I want a woman to really appreciate me. Oh, so you ascribe to men and to yourself this individuality, and we're all men, but we're all individually different. But you're playing by a different game by what you insist of women. If you see them all as the same, then they're all going to treat you the same. But if you insist on them being individually compatible to you, then you don't, your filter for letting the wrong kind of person in goes down. And the risk factor goes down, the more stubbornly those boundaries for not letting an incompatible person that can hurt you in that way goes down. If you know what I mean. T-Dog says, I've been guilty, as in the recent video, showing up on dates as someone else. This one. He says, I've been guilty of this in the past, pretending to be something I wasn't because I was too insecure and afraid to be myself. I was desperate to be what I thought they as a whole would want me to be. Back in the day, if I saw one of the recurring articles about what women really want in a man, I'd eagerly digest it all. Despite my best efforts, it never felt right, or at home, as Human describes it. Even when it worked, in hindsight, I had no confidence in who I was. Authenticity is one of my values now, but it does take courage in a modern world. Ironically, people tend to respond better when the people that matter, the people that matter anyway. Coming from a more grounded place enables you to be more clear about what you want. It's like my taste in music. I like it because I like it. It suits me. It has meaning for me. It makes me happy. Not just because it's popular. It's totally subjective. Yes, yes, yes. Great comment, T-Dog. Don't apologize for who you are, what you like. These are my preferences. Oh, I'm offended. I don't care. Don't be with me. I'm not asking you to be with me. This is women. Like, you say what you like in women and what you don't like. Oh, that's offensive. Sorry, princess, not everyone wants you. You have to be okay with rejection. I do not. That means you're not going to, what are you worried about? It means you and I aren't going to be together. But somehow she wants you to want her. Like, a lot of women think that, like, every guy should want me. I get what I want. Like, if there's a woman that's fairly popular and you reject her, she thinks you're weird. You know, the old cliche, if you reject a good looking woman, she'll say, you know, what are you, gay? It's like, why? Because you don't fit with me? There's a lot of arrogance involved in a lot of people's attitudes, but anyway. Pooping While Standing says, I think human is ignoring the base operating system that women operate under, as well as men's. I'm not ignoring that. I'm refusing to be part of it. I want to operate as an individual who makes my choices. I don't want to constantly be blaming women, men, and nature. I want to blame myself if I do something wrong. There's no point blaming women for not being responsible if you refuse to. If you're saying, well, nature, it's like, well, okay, you don't want to be responsible. Let nature be responsible. Then the results you get, don't say, well, when women are going by their nature, the worst aspects of their nature, don't go, well, wow, where's the responsibility in Jennifer? It's like, why do you care? She's not Jennifer. She's all women who happens to be labeled Jennifer, but she's not. She's just all women. And the same, you might be labeled Joe, but you're not Joe. You're just a man who just goes around like submitting to his addictions, aren't you? No, well, I like what I like. Ah, okay, so it's different for you. So you can talk about it, but you never enact your individual will. It's just kind of, I get men's and women's nature, as was mentioned before. It's very sane and sensible to generalize people and to generalize men and women before you know them, and to get a sense of how people naturally act when they're on autopilot, right? Before you meet someone, before you make your judgment of them. Have the arm extended, have a distance, observe, be rational. But if you guys are like, well, all women are like that, what happens with guys who desperately want kids? Well, all women are like that. Cross my fingers. I hope this one doesn't ruin me. No. No. I will never tell a guy that. Anyway, guys, I think that's about it. If you got any further questions, please say them now, because there's a 20-second delay. And if I end the stream now, and within 20 seconds, if someone throws me a donation with a question, I'm going to feel very guilty, because it's not on purpose. I ended the stream 20 seconds before you decided to ask a question or put in a donation. Okay. Otherwise, I will see you in Discord for a bit of a chat. A whole bunch of us guys get in there. And I'll see you in the next video this week. I'm hoping the next video is going to be a good one. I've got ideas about how I see it turning out, and I'm pretty excited. So I'll be interested to see what you guys think. I would rather put out, I've been trying to put out as many videos as I can in the free time I've got, but I think I'm gonna sort of, I want to enjoy producing a really good video that means more to me rather than, oh, let me just talk about this now. And I will do that. When I've got time, I'll produce a video in a few hours if I can do it. But I don't want to sacrifice a really good video. So if I do, I'll try, my baseline is 1 video a week. And what's manageable is up to about 3 videos a week. And a live stream. But I don't want to sacrifice quality. So I'm looking forward to the next video. And if I get it done the way I want, it may actually just be 1 video next week. It might be 2. But anyway, guys, thanks for everything. I enjoyed this stream. Really interesting questions and discussions in the stream. Keep the comments going under the recent videos. Like, subscribe, hit the bell, all that good stuff that keeps the algorithm thinking that my channel needs to stay afloat. Otherwise, it'll go backwards. My channel's been hovering at 105 for the whole year, I think. Like for about a year now. So it is what it is. So I'll see the rest of you in Discord after this stream, if you got a mic. And have a good week. Enjoy your weekend, guys. Bye.